Dragon Ball Daima Episode 7 is here. The episode begins with Bulma working on Supreme Kai's old ship. Last episode it had malfunctioned due to some sort of energy failure, and the ship crashed, leaving them stranded on the lookout. Bulma discovers that she had in fact repaired it, except for the energy system, which runs off of a strange element that she has no knowledge of and doesn't exist on Earth. When their hopes of going to the demon world seemed lost, Hybis arrived. He introduces himself and his purpose, which was to go and pick them up and take them escort them safely to the demon world. Goku, Shin, Glorio, and Pansy continue their journey to battle Tamagami 3 and collect the Dragon Ball. As they're traveling, they are once again pulled over and stopped by the Gendarmerie military force and escorted down to the surface. Once again, they're searching for Goku, who after beating all of them down and when they were attacking and harassing the villagers, Goku had become a wanted fugitive, and now they're on the hunt for him. And they seem to really be picking up the pace on the seriousness of this, and so it seems like Goku's gaining a few more stars in the demon worlds. As they search the plane, they start off by throwing off everything that's on there, all their luggage, all their stuff. They have no respect for them whatsoever. They make this very clear that these guys are a bunch of pricks. They're a bunch of pricks who work for a very spoiled and seemingly very corrupt king, Goma. Pansy was a little worried during all of this because last she saw or knew Goku was still on the plane hiding. So her, Supreme Kai, and Gloria walked off, and the men went up to search the plane, but they don't find anything. Goku's completely vanished. Who knows how? Goku taps Pansy on the shoulder, and she turns around and sees him. He's smiling at her. She's like, "How'd you do that?" And Supreme Kai explains that he has instant teleportation, which allows him to move around, and instantaneously he can go one place to point A to point B, as long as he has some energy to lock onto. And the commander of this Gendarmerie force is one of the guys who was in that village when Goku and Pansy stood up to them, and that big fight broke out between them. And he actually grabs Pansy by the wrist, and he's like, "Hey, you're coming with us. We have questions for you. Even though we can't find that one kid with the spiky hair and the red stick," he's like, "we can find you because there was another person there, a masked girl there, who was throwing bombs at us, and I have a feeling it's you." And she's like, "I'm not going with you." She whips out that taser that she had before, just fries this guy, just and he just goes down like a sack of potatoes, lump of bricks, whatever the expression is. Now that Pansy has attacked them in the open and without a mask or disguise, she's now also a fugitive, and the Gendarmerie, they attack. Supreme Kai states that they have no choice but to defend themselves and fight back. And this is something I've wanted to see for so long, is to see Supreme Kai throw hands. When we're introduced to him back in the Buu Saga, when he's squaring up with Piccolo, and they kind of have like that mental battle when Piccolo's trying to discern who he is. I was always disappointed because I really wanted to see him fight, and we never got to. The only things we ever see him do is like when Gohan, when Buu's first released and he attacks Gohan, he almost kills Gohan. Then Supreme Kai, he uses like a ki, just kind of blows him backwards a little bit. But that's all. That's all we really see. We see some of his abilities, like how he can conjure like Kachin and stuff, but we never get to see him throw hands. But here we finally get to see it, and he's pretty slick. He's smooth. He kind of reminded me of Zamasu as far as like their technique and stuff, just being very similar. He's obviously not as strong, but he's not a pushover. Remember, this guy is stronger than Piccolo when he absorbed Kami, so don't ever forget that. Supreme Kai is not a chump. After Supreme Kai and Glorio make him humble, the Gendarmerie retreat to their planes and rain fire from their planes with an aerial attack. This leads to the ship once again being damaged. Glorio, he uses his lightning magic, and he actually shoots one of the planes down. And that's really cool. I like his lightning magic a lot. It's a lot of fun to watch him use. It looked really good this episode too. And I think honestly my favorite part of this whole episode was before the ending, is Supreme Kai putting in some work here. So the planes are attacking. Glorio destroys one. Supreme Kai, he's not finished either. He holds out his hand, blasts one of the planes with the ki. That plane slams into another plane, and they both just explode, just smokes them. And I really like seeing Supreme Kai in action. He isn't even doing anything like that crazy, but I just ever since he debuted, I just really liked him and wish he would do more. And I'm really happy with what we're getting with him. So there's one last plane. It turns tail and it tries to take off. It's like, nope, screw this, we're out. And so it starts to fly away, and Supreme Kai is like, Goku, you got it. You're up. So Goku, he runs up, charges this ki blast, shoots it out of the air, just blows it to pieces, and that thing goes flying away. Like, he blasts them away like Team Rocket. And it even has like that little twinkle at the end. It's like, we're Team Rocket's blasting off again. Bing. But it was good. Good moment. Good part of the episode. But unfortunately, in the fight, their ship is just damaged again. And now they can't fly it. And so I was sitting there, I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? There's no way they're on foot again and keep gonna drag this part out. I hope they don't do it. It's had some pacing issues the past few episodes. I think everyone's noticed it, and I was really hoping that wasn't going to be an issue. But luckily, Pansy's like, hey, look over there. And there's a brand new, fresh Gendarmerie ship, and they take that instead. They move over all their stuff, and they're ready to go. Pansy, she stops for a moment. She's hesitant to get on board, and Supreme Kai looks at her. He's like, hey, what's the matter? She's like, I don't know if I can go because this magical collar that I have, it's how they found us. It's how they were able to track us. When we were back at the village, they scanned it, and that's how they were able to locate me. And here it's pretty interesting. So we learned that Dr. Arinsu, she's the one who created these collars. And Supreme Kai comes and examines it, and he's just like, hey, this thing's made of kachinite. Kachin. It's the same material, that big black block that Supreme Kai threw at Gohan when he was using the Z Sword, and the thing that was strong enough to snap that sucker in half. It's made of the same stuff, and so Arinsu made these things for everybody in the third demon world. The Supreme Kai, he looks at Pansy, he's just like, hey, do you want that thing removed? And she's just like, looks at him, she's like, there's no way, you can't remove this thing. This thing's indestructible. And he comes out, places his hand on it, and it lights up, his hand lights up, does that Pan Papa Pan, from the trailer. Uses his Supreme Kai abilities or his Kaioshin abilities, and this thing just shatters into a million pieces, just crumbles, just like the Master Emerald. And Pansy is just ecstatic. She's beside herself. She's so happy that she got this thing removed, and I don't blame her. I thought it was a really sweet moment, and so she's free of the collar. And Pansy, she's just like, "Wait, what was your name again?" And Shin, now get ready. Here's a lore bomb that we just got today. So Shin, he's just like, oh, it's Shin. She's like, no, no, no. What's your real name? That's the name you picked when you left the demon world. What was your original name? And he's just like, oh, it's my original name is Nahare. Nahare. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but so we get his real name. It's not Shin. So Shin was either just an alias or just a name he was just kind of going, decided to use throughout many, many years of his life. But we got his real name, which is really interesting. It didn't seem like super necessary, but I don't hate it. I like getting new lore and stuff like that. So I've already seen a couple of babies on Twitter like, why would they add that? Why would they include such a random lore drop? It's so pointless and dumb. How does this contribute to the story? Like, shut up. Shut your whore mouth. Gosh. So anyways, so Goku, he's just like, oh, if that's your real name, then I'll call you that. And then he's just like, well, on second thought, I think I'm just going to stick with Kaioshin-sama. So I think Goku's feeling just like fans are, or at least most fans, the majority, who are just like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, but I'll probably just keep calling you the same thing. So they board the plane and they take off, and Glorio, he's having a blast. He's like, hey, this thing's fast. And so they're making a lot of progress, a lot faster than they were going before. But they're like, oh, shoot, since we're in this Gendarmerie plane, we're going to need another pin number to use warp later after we collect the Dragon Ball. And Pansy, she's on it. She's like, hold on a sec. She pulls out like one of those Dragon Radar looking things, makes a phone call, calls that green cricket guy that we saw in like the release images and the trailers. And so this is a friend of Pansy's, and he's just like one of those, the tech geeks, the guy that, if you need someone to hack a computer, turn off some security cameras or something like that, get you information. He's one of those guys. And so she's like, "Hey, I need you to hack the gendarmerie, database and stuff. We need a PIN number for this plane." He's like, "Oh, I got you." And so he gets it to him, but then he also reports that Hibis has successfully brought Vegeta, Piccolo, Bulma, and Kibito to the demon world. And so now they are finally there, and we don't have to wait for them anymore. I mean, kind of a little bit, but they're there. And so I have a feeling they'll be reuniting with everybody pretty soon. And we get to see them there too. And so it's Bulma, Vegeta, and Kibito, Piccolo. Um, Bulma's just like, "This place stinks," and Vegeta and Piccolo, they're just standing off, brooding and stuff. Uh, but Hybiz, he's talking to King Kadon. He's like, "Hey, uh, slight change of plans. You got to bring them straight to Goku and my daughter and stuff." And so he's like, it's your job now. Just don't let them wander off for half a dozen episodes. Just take them straight to them." And so he's like, "Okay, well, I'll do it, but I need a reward." He's like, "Because I was going to go on a date earlier." And King's just like, "I know you don't have a girlfriend, so don't play that with me." So, and so he's just like, "All right, I'll do it for a large pizza with worms." And so he's like, "All right, that's a deal. You can have as much as you want." And so they'll be reuniting pretty soon. The plane lands and Goku and the gang, they finally arrive at Tamagami 3, the massive robot wielding a giant hammer. Then apparently, according to Pansy, not even Deborah was able to defeat this thing. And Deborah is stronger or as strong as Cell, super perfect Cell to be exact. And so these things are no joke. And so if you look back at like I think 2 episodes ago when Goku meets King Kadon, Pansy's dad, he's thinking to himself, he's like, "Hey," he's like, "I don't know about these guys going to fight the Tamagami. These guys are dangerous." But then he's just like, "Oh wait, hold on a second. If they defeated Majin Buu, they might be able to pull this off." And so in some regard, he seems to think that if they're able to defeat Majin Buu, they have a chance of defeating the Tamagami. So I don't know if he's making a direct comparison, to the Tamagami and Buu, but he could be. It seems to be. That seems to be the case. Seems like these Tamagami might be Buu Saga or Buu level threats, and I really hope so. And yeah, I think we're gonna get a lot of cool stuff soon. In Tamagami 3, he's just standing there. He's like still like a statue. It almost reminded me of like uh in like the third gen Pokemon games, like Reggie and Reggie and Steel and Regigigas later on, how they're just standing there the whole time until you walk up to them. And yeah, this thing's imposing. I really like this design. So before they challenge him, Goku's just like, "Wait, before we do this, I gotta eat and I gotta use the bathroom." So they go to get some food, and before Goku fights this thing, and in order to fight the Tamagami, you simply have to approach it and challenge it. It's almost like it's a trial, I think. I don't know if it is for sure, but we'll see as it goes on. So anyone who challenges gets to battle the Tamagami for a chance to earn the Dragon Ball. You can either fight and win, or you can surrender and leave with your life. Or if you don't surrender, like we learned someone had previously fought them, didn't surrender, and they will kill you straight up. They go and get some food, and Goku chows down on some Demon Realm shish kebab. With his belly full and his bladder empty, Goku's ready to challenge Tamagami 3. He approaches the Tamagami and he tells the others to stay back. And I I really like Tamagami 3. So Goku he approaches him and he's just like, "Hey, excuse me." And Tamagami 3 just turns, he's just like, "What?" And he just roars at Goku. He's just like, "What do you want?" And he just sends out like all these shockwaves, and they're just covering like they cover Goku, the arena. They stretch out across the entire town, and he just screams in Goku's face, and Goku's just shaking. And Tamagami 3, he's like, "Do you wish to challenge me?" And Goku's like, "Yes, I do." And so Goku's ready. He's excited. Tamagami 3 is like, "Then face me." And so they seem to have some level of honor to them, which I kind of like. I like the Tamagami 3 being more like they're guardians of the Dragon Balls, but they're kind of just like challenges, and they're not like evil or vindictive. They're just they're just there doing their job, and they're tough. And we're in for a lot of fun and a lot of action next week. I'm really excited for this. And that's really where the episode ends. Goku challenges Tamagami 3. They square up and they're ready to go. Overall, this episode was pretty fun. It wasn't super, amazing or anything, but it was definitely a build-up episode to next week. I feel like the collar stuff ended very quickly in the episode, and so it was like half of the episode, not even half of the episode, like just a few minutes of the episode had to do with the collar, and that's the name of this whole thing. It's episode's titled "The Collar," and so we did get to learn about that. Urinsu made him. Supreme Kai freed Pansy from hers, and they're ready to go collect that Dragon Ball. It's time. Next week's time. We get to fight Tamagami 3. It's showtime. Good episode. I had fun. Highly recommend it. Watch it on Crunchyroll, Hulu, or Fuji TV, and even Netflix. So there's lots of options and lots of ways to watch it and support the official release. Thank you for stopping by, guys. Take care. We'll catch you guys next time.